awful, and I'll be honest, it's not fun. All right. So you need that yellow graphic organizer out. Now, before we do polynomial long division, let's talk about just plain old regular long division that you guys did way back in elementary school. So, for example, let's say that I had 135 and I wanted to divide it by 4. Who remembers how to do regular old long division? What's your first step, JJ? Abby? Right. So how many times does 4 go to 13? 3 times. Then what do I do? All right, multiply the 4 times 3, which is 12, and you're going to subtract that from 13. So that'll give me 1. I bring the 5 down to make 15. And then I repeat the process. So 4 goes into 15 how many times? 3 times. So 4 times 3 is still 12. Subtract it. That's 3. Now, 3 can't go into 4, so that's my remainder. Now, you're used to writing remainders as R3, but we don't do that in this class. We write it as a fraction. So in other words, you take this 3 and you put it over whatever your divisor is, so the 4, so 3 over 4. So 33 and 3/4 is your answer. Now, why am I going over, basic long division? Those steps that we just did are exactly what you're going to do for polynomial long division. But again, you just got to be really careful because it is tedious. So guys, write small when we're doing this because there's going to be a lot of work that goes into each problem. Okay? All right, so let's look at the examples. So when it comes to polynomial long division, you divide the first terms of each expression. You multiply by the divisor, which is what you're dividing by. You subtract by changing the signs and adding. Then you bring down, Then you bring down the next term and repeat the process. So it's a process. The good thing about this is that it just keeps repeating. All right. The bad thing about this is that it takes a little bit. All right. So just so you're aware, this polynomial, the big one, is known as your dividend. It's what we're dividing into. This binomial that we're dividing by is called your divisor. And the polynomial that we will get at the end is called your quotient. You will hear me say those words a lot. So make sure you know that vocabulary. All right. Now let's actually get into the problem. So notice how it's set up just like a numerical long division. So how we start is we take the first term of the divisor and divide it into the first term of our dividend. So at the bottom, I'm going to rewrite the 2 terms I'm dividing. So I'm doing 2x cubed. So I'm doing 2x cubed divided by 2x. Now, what happens to the 2 2's? They cancel out. Now, when we divide exponents, what are we actually doing to them? subtracting. So x cubed divided by x is what? X squared. So before I do anything else, I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to write the x squared over top of where the other x squared is. Now what we're going to do is multiply that x squared to our divisor. So oh my gosh. So coming back down here, I'm going to multiply x squared by 2x minus 3. So I'm going to distribute that. What's x squared times 2x? 2x, not squared, cubed. What's negative 3 times x squared? Negative 3x squared. Now, I'm going to be subtracting this polynomial to the top. So when I subtract it, before I even move it up to the top, we want to change the signs because that will emphasize that we're subtracting. So we're going to change the signs to subtract. So this is what we're actually going to be writing up top. So I'm going to do negative 2x cubed plus 3x squared. And I'm going to add it. What happens to the 2x cubes? So what happens to 2x cubed minus 2x cubed? What happens? It cancels out, becomes 0. That's what should happen every time you do this. The term that you divide it into should cancel out. Now, what's negative 5x squared plus 3x squared? Negative 2x squared. And then we bring down our other two terms. So it'd be plus 5x plus 4. And then all we do from here is just repeat the process. So I'm now going to divide negative 2x squared by 2x. So I'm going to come down here. 2x squared divided by 2x. What happens to the 2's? They cancel out. What's x squared divided by x? X. So I'm going to take a moment, come back up here, put plus x. All right. Now, we take that x and we multiply it to the 2x minus 3. All right. So if I multiply it to it, what do I get? 2x squared minus 3x. And remember, before we transfer it to the top, we need to flip those two signs. So it'd be negative 2x squared plus 3x. Because that's the subtraction. Oh, I'm sorry. That should have been a negative. So this should have been a negative 2. So that would be negative x. I wrote it down wrong at the bottom. So it doesn't change much, just flips the signs. And then this up here, instead of a plus, is a negative. So before we move it up to the top, this becomes positive, this becomes negative. So we have positive 2x squared minus 3x. That goes away. What's 5x minus 3x? 2x. And I bring down the plus 4. Say it one more time. Yep, same steps again. Yeah. All right. Now, we got to do it one more time. So we're going to divide that 2x by the first term of our divisor. So this would be positive 2x divided by 2x, which is just what? Not x. What happens to both the 2's and the x's? They cancel out, so it's not 0, but 1. So So I'm going to put a plus 1. All right. Multiply it to the divisor. Well, we know anything times 1 is just itself, so this will be 2x minus 3. And then before we move it to the top, we're going to flip those signs. So that becomes negative, that becomes positive. So this would be negative 2x plus 3. These go away. 7 is my remainder. So this 7 right, oops. So this 7 right here is your remainder. Now, the way we write the remainder in our answer is just like how we did it with the numerical one. We're going to write it as a fraction. So we're going to take that number and put it over our divisor. So this would be plus 7 over 2x minus 3. And this right here is our answer. Yes, ma'am. So guys, do you understand what I mean when I said it was going to be a little bit of a doozy? It's not necessarily hard. It's just very step heavy. So you got to be pretty meticulous. Any questions on the first example? Now, you may be wondering, well, why does this matter? All right. What's going to happen eventually is that, one, we can be able to figure out if a binomial is a factor of a polynomial. 2, it'll help us find the roots of polynomials without graphing them. All right, which is kind of like what this is going to lead into. But before that, we actually have to look into doing the division. And unfortunately, guys, this is something that a calculator cannot do for you. You got to know how to do this by hand. And it is on the EOC. I can guarantee you that. All right, you guys ready for the next one? Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right. Okay, so we're going to do the next one. This time, I'm going to have you guys walk me through the steps, see if you can do it. All right. So let's start with Shaki. What is the first step? Say one more time. Right. We're going to divide the 3x cubed by 3x. And Shaki, when we do that, what do we get? X squared. Good. So I'm going to write that up here. All right. Let's go with mahogany. What do I do next? So we multiply x squared by what? So we're multiplying x squared by what? We always multiply to the, the 3x plus 1. So you always multiply to the divisor. So mahogany, when you distribute that x squared, what do you get? So 3x cubed plus what? It's x squared times 1. X squared. Good. All right. Hayden, what's my next step? So I got what I'm going to subtract. to the top. So what do I need to do before I can subtract? Change the signs. Good. I'm going to change this to a negative, this to a negative as well. So when I bring it up, I have negative 3x cubed minus x squared. So Hayden, this cancels, but what's negative 5x squared minus x squared? So one more time. So what's negative 5x squared minus x squared? It's what? Okay, so we know it's going to have an x squared at the end because we're just combining like terms. Remember, there's an unspoken 1 here, so what's negative 5 minus 1? Other way. So it's not negative 4, it would be negative 6. And then we bring down our other two terms. All right, what's my next step? Marley. Right, divide negative 6x squared by 3x. So if I do negative 6x squared divided by 3x, Marley, what do I get? Negative 2, what? X, good. So before I do anything, I'm going to write the negative 2x at the top so I don't forget it. What's my next step? Chase. All right, multiply the negative 2x to the 3x plus 1, which if you distribute that, what do you get, Chase? 6x. So x times x is what? X squared. So negative 6x squared and negative 2x. Good. Now, that's what I need to subtract. So, Aiden, what do I need to do first before I subtract? So we already distributed. Okay, so look what I did above at the previous one. Before I subtracted it, what did I do? Change the what? Change the signs. Good. So I'm going to make both of them positives. This is plus 6x squared plus 2x. So that goes away. Aiden, what's negative 5x plus 2x? So negative 5x plus 2x is what? Come on. What's negative 5x plus 2x? Good. And then we bring down the plus 4. All right, what's my next move? Zoe. What's my next move? Good, negative 3x divided by 3x. So I got negative 3x divided by 3x, which is what, Zoe? It's what? Negative 1. Good. So I put minus 1 up here. Guys, quit. All right, what's my next step? Jonathan. M. So we multiply by 3x plus 1. So what do I get when I do that? Right, you get negative 3x minus 1. What do I do next, Abby? So this is what I'm subtracting, but before I can, what do I have to do? Flip those signs. So this becomes a plus and a plus. So this becomes plus 3x plus 1. So that cancels, and then 4 plus 1, Abby? 5. So that will be my remainder. So what do I do to write out my remainder, Katie? Good. Over 3x plus 1. So whatever your remainder is, you take whatever the divisor is, that's the denominator of your fraction. And there's your answer. Good. All right, any questions on that? Okay, we're going to do some more practice with this, so take out your packet. Go to page 7. I want you guys to try for number 1 on page 7, letter C on your own. So try letter C on your own. When do you want to do that? Do you want to do it today or tomorrow? Is it okay. I don't. I mean, I can always throw you in the hallway. Which one would you do? Let's do 4th period, just because I want you to be able to it should. If not, you can do it tomorrow. All right, so everyone needs to try letter C on your own.
Yes.
So packet, page 7, letter C.
Not in these days. Yeah.
Personally, I would take your
So page 7 of your packet, letter C. You have 3 X's to take away. Slow is all yes. Four X divided by X. The X is Y. Probably should be 4X squared.
Wait, which one are we doing? What?
So it's squared by X.
I have told you from my outburst. He scares me.
Yeah, it's just too time. So.
Like him or like him?
You don't like.
Oh, that's cute.
No, look at our later too.
Did I finish your outfit? So you start this. So you don't take that. Place that. You want to start to like a division. And then you start with, yeah, and you're always going to use the first one. It's just this is where it's that sound. So make sure you know.
All right, guys, looks like most of y'all are wrapping up, so go ahead and talk us through facing your answers.
That's like 10 layers already. Right. Okay, so execute, to go into these. I just feel it. Okay, so x cubed, so then you do x cubed inside divided by the outside. So x cubed divided by x is what I'm going to use. So cubed minus.
What are you distributing?
3 minus 1 is 2. So that's what you write right there. And then you're following the steps of the equation. So then you take the x cubed and multiply by that. So x cubed. X cubed. So that way you got to hang. and then you multiply it by this. X plus 3 equals, so x squared times x cubed. X squared times 3 is 3x, but you've got to flip your sign. So this is your answer, but when you get up here, you flip your sign. So it's minus x cubed minus 3x squared. So that drops out. And this comes out. So minus 3. That is just x squared. And then you repeat it. So now you're going to do x squared divided by x. So you just keep going through the steps. So if you have x, are you watching? Are you writing?
Yeah.
X squared divided by x, 2 minus 1 is 1, so that just makes. And so you and then positive, so it's going to be positive, so plus x, and then you repeat the steps. So you're going to do x times this. You gotta, yeah, it's not bad. It's just, it takes a lot of space.
My biggest takeaway is you need a lot of food.
Right.
And she knows for a fact that
I want to see this. So you need to set your,
I got all this down here.
where's your division?
I got the end.
That's the first step. This is the first step, is to set this up. So try to. That's
All right, my darlings, let's go over this one. All right, so looking around the room, good job for the most part. So to start us off, first off, the first thing you should always do is rewrite it so it has that division bracket. All right. Now, let's go with Jordan. What will be your first step? Right, we divide x cubed by x. So I'm going to do this over here. So x cubed divided by x, which is what, Jordan? X squared, good. So I'm going to write the x squared up here. So guys, as I was walking around the room, some of you were forgetting to write what you got when you divided up here. Remember, that's the whole part of dividing them. All right, so be careful about that. All right, what's my next step? Dominic. Times x squared by x plus 3. So what would you get? X cubed by 3x? 3x squared. All right. So this is what I'm subtracting. So JJ, what do I do now? But before I do that, there's something I got to do. Swap the signs. So both these become negative. So I'm going to do negative x cubed minus 3x squared. So x cubed cancel out. And JJ, what's 4x squared minus 3x squared? X squared. Good. And now we repeat the process. Here. So, Lanaya, what's my next step? After I bring these down. So we're just repeating the process now. So we started by doing what? So we're back to the dividing. So what do I divide? And? Not the negative 2x, but this x right here of our divisor. All right, it's always going to be the first term and then the first term of the divisor. All right, so I'm going to do x squared divided by x, what's x squared divided by x, Lanaya? X, good. So I'm going to put a plus x here. What is my next step, Davis?
You put x plus 3.
Uh-huh.
Distribute x into that.
Right? And get what?
If it's, 1x.
Not 1x.
X squared, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And you do plus 3x.
Good. All right. So now I got what I need to subtract. Here. So Hunter, what's my next step? She went to the bathroom. All right. Malachi, what's my next step? So we got what we need to subtract, but before I can, I got to do what? Got to change the signs. So I'm going to subtract x squared minus 3x of the whole thing. X squareds cancel out. What's negative 2x minus 3x, Malachi? Not quite. Negative 5x. And then bring down the negative 15. All right. Last process. So let's go with Anna. What do I do now? So I'm repeating the process. So what do we always do first when we repeat the process? Divide what? So this part is what we're dividing into now. So what part of that are we dividing into? The negative 5x. And we're dividing it by x. All right, so I got negative 5x divided by x, which is what, Anna? What's negative 5x divided by x? Good. Those cancel, I get negative 5. So I write that up here. Shh. What's my next step? David. Multiply 5 by x plus 3. And that'll give me what? Good. So that's why I'm subtracting by. So what do I do next? Autumn. Mm-hmm. So change the signs and subtract that to the other side. So the negative 5x and the 5x cancel. Autumn, what's negative 15 plus 15? 0. Now, here's what's different. So our remainder is 0. So we actually do not need to write that remainder as a fraction. All right, because anything divided by 0 is always, anything divided into 0 is always what? 0. So there's no point in that. So this right here is our final answer. No, x squared plus x minus 5. All right, so, all right, good job with that, guys. So for the rest of class, you guys got a solid 30 minutes. You have a new Delta Math. Only do the ones that say long division. So there's 2 sections. 2 of those sections are going to go around with something we're doing tomorrow. Only do the ones labeled long division. You can at least start it if you want to. You want to start it? Okay.